Hi, I'm Ed Bacon, the Rector of All Saints Church, Pasadena. Whoever you are and wherever you find yourself on the journey of faith, I hope that you'll find something here that speaks to you. Welcome.
Thank you all for being here this morning. More people will come in. We have a lot of things going on at All Saints Church this morning. But I'm so thrilled that we get to introduce all of us today to what's going on throughout the world on February 14. More about that later. We're so thrilled to have our speaker here today, and I want to spend just a minute introducing her. Now, let's see if you know the answer to this question. What does Barack Obama, Aretha Franklin, and Ed Bacon have in common? Tena Clark, exactly. We are all musically resourced by Tena Clark because Barack Obama has his playlist on Air Force One determined by Tena Clark. Aretha Franklin is produced in many of her records along with many other greats by Tena Clark. And one of the most important relationships I have in my life is with my friend Tena Clark. Tena founded Disc Marketing Incorporated, DMI, Music and Media Solutions, in about 15 years ago. And what she has done with that has been just amazing. A musical compass guided Tena from rural Mississippi to Hollywood. And when we have time, we'll tell a really good story about Mississippi and Tena and me. But what's more appropriate this morning is beginning at age 5, she would visit New Orleans with her mother, who was also a songwriter during the big band era. And she just absorbed the New Orleans intoxicating rhythms. And her first professional gig was at age 15 playing drums at the Crescent City's famed Roosevelt Hotel, where her daughter was married 2 summers ago. And we all had a wonderful time there, reminiscing. Since then, Tena has excelled in multiple genres across an astonishing breadth of mediums. Highlights including penning award-winning country hits, contributing to multi-platinum movie soundtracks, including Hope Floats, The 5 Heartbeats, Where the Heart Is, My Best Friend's Wedding, writing for television shows like Desperate Housewives, and creating the instantly recognizable national campaign theme, Have You Had Your Break Today, for McDonald's. We are in the hands of a composer extraordinaire. She composed this amazing song, Way Up There, produced by Tena and performed by Patti LaBelle, and it was nominated for a Grammy Award. It was originally commissioned by NASA as their theme song, and then it has just become an amazing song and was sung in the National Cathedral at the funeral after that horrible blow-up we had with the Challenger. She now has written a musical called Twist, which debuted at the Alliance Theater in Atlanta and staged it here in Pasadena at the Playhouse, which broke all box office records. She composed the song I Believed, a commemorative song to honor Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, celebration of the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day. Well, it's not a mistake that when Eve Ensler envisioned this international day against women, against violence against women, that she came to Tena to compose the theme song. Tena's here not only to talk about that, but to talk about Eve, to talk about this amazing thing that happens on February 14. Will you please warmly welcome our own parishioner, my good friend, Barack Obama's good friend, Aretha Franklin's good friend, Tena Clark.
But of course, the most important of those is Ed Bacon, by far. Can you hear me? No. 1, 2. Here we go. Okay. So thank y'all for coming today, and I am really at the point where I am in my life right now All of that other stuff just seems quite trivial, except for, I mean, I'm blessed and I'm thankful, but where I am on the journey right now is what I am doing and talking about today, and hopefully there will be many more of these. And I am so humbled and grateful to have the opportunity and be asked by Ed to come and talk about this really, really important kind of put you on your knees movement. I am only, and I want to be clear about this, I'm only playing a very small part of this. I'm a grain of sand in this movement. I just want to be used in whatever way. And this movement is created and is a brainchild of Eve Ensler, who is truly a force of nature, a woman who has overcome catastrophic illness and has dedicated her life and every dime that she has ever made basically on Vagina Monologues to the movement and the education and the safety and protection and change for women globally, women and girls. My partner and I, Michelle, went to Hollywood, I guess it was about 18 months ago, for a small meeting with Eve and Pat Mitchell, our good friend, to hear Eve and Pat talk about the Congo and the changes that they were making in the Congo with V-Girls and the V-Day movement. And Eve, it was the first time I had met her, and she wanted to talk to me about this little idea and this little movement called 1 Billion Rising. And I had been really praying and trying to find the answers, as we all do on the journey, of how God could use me in whatever way, and the talent, whether it was music or whatever it may be, moving forward. And when Eve asked me to do this, it was to write the theme song for this movement. It was just kind of, I thought, oh wow, this is incredible. But then when I really jumped into it and learned more about it and heard her speak that night, and then as the months passed, really read and saw and listened to her of what was really happening globally to women, it blew my mind. And it was so overwhelming that it was like sometimes, I know I've heard Ed say before, we all get paralyzed at the point of, or just frozen, oh, there's so much, how can we make any kind of difference? And this movement is really, it has a life of its own now. And I had asked Eve to come here today and be here with me, and she really wanted to. She's in Manila, and she tried to change her flight going in and coming out to come through LA. She will be here sometime this spring, but she could not make it today. But I thought there would be no better way to start than to show you. We just got back from TEDx in DC, where Eve spoke and where the song also was performed. But you can hear her in her own words, which I think I couldn't, there's no way I could do it as much justice as she can. But to explain to you what 1 Billion Rising is and what's about to take place on February the 14th.
I want to begin bringing in a dear friend of mine who died a month ago. She was a spirit. She was a dance goddess. Her name is Gabrielle Roth. And I thought it was really important to begin tonight with Gabrielle because I can feel her spirit all around us. She understood rhythms and dance better than anyone I know. The day she died, hundreds of us danced for her and with her so we would help free her spirit. She believed that physical movement was key to unlocking the spirit. She said this beautiful thing about dance. Dance is the fastest, most direct route to the truth. The question I ask myself and everyone else is, do you have the discipline to be a free spirit? Can we be free of all that binds and bends us into a shape of consciousness and has nothing to do with who we are from moment to moment, from breath to breath? Dance is the fastest, most direct route to the truth. Not some big truth that belongs to everybody, but the get down and personal kind, the what's happening in me right now kind of truth. We dance to reclaim our brilliant ability to disappear in something bigger, something safe, a space without a critic or a judge or an analyst. I dreamed of curating this session to coincide with V-Day's 1 billion rising action. I was thinking of what Pat was saying at the beginning, and recently a very funny board member, a V-Day board member, called me up and said, just promise me it's not a trillion now. 1 billion rising is many things. We are inviting 1 billion women, and that's a UN statistic. 1 out of 3 women on the planet will be raped or beaten in their lifetime. 1 out of 3, 1 billion women. We are inviting them to walk out of their homes, their offices, their jobs, their schools, and dance. To find their posse, to find their place, to find their story, to find their location, and dance. 1 billion rising is a vision of a world of women across boundaries, coming together, walking, speaking, dancing as one on the same day for the same thing, for the world to be a safe, cherishing, nurturing place where women can be their fully sexual, intellectual, spiritual, emotional selves without threat or terror, without intimidation or harassment. 1 billion rising is a journey. Over these years and now recent months, we have been building towards this, working with thousands of grassroots and international groups who have been doing this work for years and years. Groups who have been forging new coalitions at the intersection of race, poverty, sexual identity, climate change, men, labor, coalitions, born of the understanding that one cannot end violence against women and girls without addressing and including all of these things. 1 billion rising is a mystical decision. Extraordinary Indian activist named Kamala Basin, who is organizing all of South Asia, and I swear to God she is, said that 1 billion rising is a feminist tsunami. I love that. An energetic rearrangement of our universal chemistry, the biggest volunteer action maybe ever of women across the planet, a seismic and collective remembering of who we are and a calling back of our authenticity, a world dance shaking up our original energy and wisdom. Already 170 countries have signed on. There's only 196, so we only have a few more to go. We have thousands of groups worldwide. Unions, almost every major union in the US has signed on, and unions in every country. Indigenous women, migrant workers, domestic workers, nurses, teachers, comedians, ministers, bishops. I saw a picture of bishops in the Philippines rising. Members of parliament, Robert Redford, Yoko Ono, guerrilla girls in the New York City and hip-hop groups in Joburg. Millions rising in South Asia and the Philippines, the US, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Iran, Europe, and Africa. I just finished the South American tour where I went to Mexico, Guatemala, and Peru. And I was with this extraordinary mayor, Susana, in Lima, in a square that she had organized for the purpose of 1 billion rising, where 10,000 people in Lima, Peru were chanting Latina. The world is rising, and we have no idea what can and will happen when 1 billion women and all the men who love them dance on this earth, on the floor of the Mother Earth on the same day. When 1 billion rise, I've been thinking a lot about the word rise. Rise, bread rises, the sun rises, heat rises, Jesus rose. To rise is to stand up, ascend, get higher, grow larger, become apparent, be built, appear in the sky, be resurrected, extend upward, intensify emotionally, grow louder and more intense, swell, rebel, or riot. Rise implies we were once here and we're coming back. That we will not remain unseen, that we will not be held back or down. And today I thought it might be nice to look at the ingredients of a rising. What does it take? What do we need? I've invited the risers, the women who rise up and help rise up the others. They do it in various ways, with various tactics and invitations. Each one of these women is original in daring boundary, breaking, and refusing to accept the givens. None of them use violence or guns, although I'm sure at times they have thought about it. But each is immensely persuasive. Each is intense. Each faced enormous odds to get where they are. Each broke racial barriers, religious barriers, gender barriers, and sexual stereotypes. Each has broken the silence. Each has exposed a secret.
So now you know. And Eve, what she said to me when we first met, she said, "Tena, I want to shift the planet." And I have no doubt in my mind that that is what is going to happen on February the 14th. So the next thing I'm going to show you, and excuse sometimes if it stops a little bit, we are online here. So with Josh's help, we've got it going on here. So this is a short film. This was the first release. It's only a few minutes to get before. It was kind of the preliminary release before the music video of the song that I've written called "Break the Chain." But we released this first. It's kind of difficult, maybe difficult for some of you to watch, but it is an awakening. So that was created by Eve and a wonderful South African director from Joburg that Eve had met. And after we released that, then it was about 2 weeks later before we had decided with the music video that we were going to just do the usual kind of We Are the World thing, and I was going to get a bunch of celebrities here in Los Angeles, women, to come together and record the song, and we were going to have all the press and et cetera, et cetera. And as we started dealing, or as I started dealing with schedules and trying to set people up, and this person's ego and that person's ego, and et cetera, and who was going to sing what, and who was going to sing one line, it just felt really wrong. And so Eve and I were talking, and she said, you know, I really think let's just do it authentic. She said, let's go to New York, let's do an open call for multi-ethnic high school and 20-year-old girls that are not professionals, but that can sing. And we had hundreds of girls to come to the open call in New York. I also got Debbie Allen at the time to, since this is about a dance also, to choreograph this piece so that people all over the world, they can either learn the dance on the video that they see, or they can dance from what is indigenous to their own culture. But it was another amazing couple of days in New York. Just, we had so many girls that had amazing voices and that had never really, so many of them had never really sung before. And I mean, from Botswana to, you know, Louisiana, whatever, they were from all over. So it was a great experience. And so next, what I'm going to show you is the music video and the song that I wrote for this movement called Break, and the song is called Break the Chain. And I'm really sorry about, we had no problems yesterday or this morning with this online. I guess it's just... that make you want to dance? You think we're going to shift the planet? That's right. That's right. So, as you can see, it's pretty exciting to be able to even have the possibility to stop and shift the thinking in this world and the abuse in this world. I guess that, when I was a little bit about, when I was like 4 years old, I had some kind of discernment about, I just could not understand in my wildest imagination the atrocities against and oppression against a human being because of race, being in Mississippi at that time, and then as I grew older, gender, sexual preference, religion, etc. So for me, this is coming full circle because I had really been talking to Ed a lot about things I wanted to do in Mississippi around women there and underprivileged women and giving them a leg up and a hand up when this happened. So it's not the end of a mission for me. It is merely the first step on the journey, I feel like, of where God is leading me, where I don't know where that is, but I know that it's pretty powerful and it's pretty exciting. And if I can just be in the balcony and ride along with these things that are happening and make a little bit of difference, it's all worth it. So I want to show you this one last thing with Alice Walker. Fast forward, I had written a song, back actually in the 80s, that I had cut on Gladys Knight called Walk the Line. And it was a song about racism in Mississippi. And when I cut it on Gladys, the record label, Gladys loved it, but the record label said it was too in your face, and they didn't want it out there. And this was told to us by African-American A&R guys. So we were kind of perplexed by the whole thing. But I always knew that this song would find a home somewhere because it had such an amazing message. And so out of clear blue, I guess these two producers from India, but that lived in London, found the song and realized that Eve knew me. So they called and they were doing Alice Walker's documentary. And they called me and wanted to use the song as the end title for the documentary, but what ended up happening was I scored the documentary, which will be coming out. It's a beautiful documentary on Alice Walker. But Alice is also involved in this. And just to end this, and then we'll do a few questions. Was this it, Josh? Okay.
I believe dancing gives us the opportunity to feel ourselves at the most fundamental level of joy. And I think this is a place we all have. And because of the trials and tribulations of the world, few people, it seems to me, anymore ever get there. And this is a great tragedy for humanity. Dance was given to us to help us to feel not only joy, but deep devotion and deep love. I'm Alice Walker. Join 1 billion women and the women and men who love them. Strike, dance, rise.
So there you go. So any information that you would need, you can go online to 1billionrising.org, and you can find out how to get involved. You can find out how to create an event. There are people that you can contact on there. Personally, if you want to ask me, I can tell you also who to contact. But the city of Los Angeles has declared February the 14th Rising Day, as well as so many in most of the major cities across America, but more importantly, across the world. Eve is tirelessly, as we speak right now, globe-trotting from country to country to country. And when you go online to 1billionrising.org, you will see and read so many amazing stories, see so many videos of young girls and women across this planet with their plans and also what they have to say about what is happening to them, what is happening in their country, and why this is so important to them. So with no further ado, I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Yes.
I hope so. I mean, it's kind of got a life of its own right now. It's out of my hands, but it's been so many places already. Like I said, we launched the song with the actual singers at TED in D.C., and then last 2 weeks ago we were at the Diversity Women's Conference in D.C. with 600 women from across America. It was performed there, but yes, I'm sure that it will be on TV. I'm sure that, and you can download now also. You can download the song for free. You can go on iTunes, or you can go on the website, and you can get the song, and that is my donation to this cause.
Tina, you're fabulous. Thank you so much. Can All Saints host a dance-a-thon on the 14th?
Absolutely. Another one of Eve's friends, Kim Rosen, has asked me to do an endorsement video, which I'll do, I think, this coming week. You know, I have some moves myself. And the women's community leadership is here this morning for the purpose of seeing this and giving us some guidance about what we're going to do here. But absolutely, we've got all sorts of things popping for February 14th. Yeah, here's a question here.
Trying to get a picture of what it's going to look like around the world on February 15th.
Well, we kept discussing whether, you know, if there was going to be a certain time, kind of like with the millennium, that it just went across. But Eve felt like it was really important for everybody to choose their own time of their on that day and their event, because we didn't want there to be any hindrances of, well, I can't do it at that time or whatever. So it's going to be also YouTube is going to be streaming it from many different countries live. I'm sure that you will be seeing it on television, but everybody, every event, every organization is being, you know, they're doing their thing. They're doing their dance. They're doing their thing.
Thank you so much for this work, and what an exciting day it's going to be on February 14th. And then what happens after February 14th?
Well, that's a good question. I haven't gotten that far. But I'm sure Eve, when she, you know, she will fill you in, or I just, like I said, I'm just riding her jet stream right now. But I did want to say, too, as far as the men are concerned, we did not leave men out, even though I do say brothers in the song, I think, one time. But when we first talked about it, you know, and about the song and about the movement, it's you know, it's a call to action for mankind. But we really wanted the women to own this. And even though we at the beginning had talked about, you know, how it would be this movement just in general, and it would be not necessarily focused just on the women's movement of this, but a lot of people felt like, and so did I very strongly, about no different than 1 million men marching or whatever. Doesn't mean they're not going to bring their wives and their sisters and their daughters along. But women needed to own this. It needed to be women's voices, but so that it would not be watered down into just a, okay, you know, we're all going to get together and do this. But very much so, it is about on that day walking, and this is the way I would kind of do the elevator pitches on that day, whether you're in a high-rise in New York or Los Angeles, or you're out in the fields in San Bernardino, are a migrant worker, or whether you're in a hut in the Masamara, or Afghanistan or China, or wherever you may be, that you walk out and you dance. And there have been against abuse. And there have been so many corporations across America that I have friends, major global brands, that are sending out emails to all of their stores, all of their companies, to walk out at a certain time on that day. So I believe it is going to be a tsunami. I really do. Any other questions?
Last question right here.
Thanks a lot, Tina. This is fantastic movement to raise the awareness about these issues. Parallel to this movement is also a fantastic book that some of us here have been reading called Half the Sky. It's written by a couple, Nicholas Kristof of the New York Times and his wife Cheryl Woodan. In fact, a New York Times front page in the Sunday Review today, Nicholas Kristof writes exactly about this issue. The book is a difficult book to read, as you saw the video here, but it's also powerful and inspiring because at the end of each chapter, it gives you ideas and ways that you can actually participate long term, individually as well as churches, groups, and nationally, legislatively. So I highly recommend that if you're interested in this issue, in addition to the 14th participating, that we read that book to really understand the issues globally. The couple really hopes that this will become a major concern for the 21st century, that everyone comes around it. So I really, really appreciate this movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Tena Clark.